The beautiful Whanganui River, stretching from the mountains to the sea. For centuries, a pathway for the Maori paddling their canoes from settlements on the upper reaches. But in time, paddles gave way to steam power when Europeans brought riverboats to the Whanganui. Where Maori warriors once travelled in canoes, riverboats now plied the waterway, establishing a lifeline for people who depended on the boat for mail and stores. The Whanganui was then designated a state highway until the river road went through. Farmers relied on the riverboats to take the season's wool clip to the busy river mouth. Tourists also came to see the majestic scenery, the sure hand of an experienced helmsman guiding the steamer past the bush-clad valleys and sheer rock gorges. Paddle boats became a common sight on the Whanganui, the biggest and perhaps the pride of the fleet, the Waimarie, making the 10-hour trip between Whanganui and Pipariki 3 times a week. First registered in Wellington in 1900, this vessel holds the distinction of being number 1 on the ship's registry for that year. After years of neglect, run down and abandoned, the Waimarie sank at her moorings in 1952. In 1990, it was decided to raise the vessel and return her to the river as a tourist attraction. On January the 4th, 1993, after almost 3 years of planning, work began excavating around the outlines of the hull, first with hand tools, then with a barge-mounted hydraulic digger. The vessel was fast in the grip of the mud. The task of freeing it involved hours of dirty, tiring work, using high-powered pumps to remove mud and silt. Cofferdams were built around the hatches. Compartments were pumped out and packed with hundreds of plastic containers. As the days went by, more and more flotation was provided by 44-gallon drums welded into steel frames. To help free the vessel, a special air lance was made to ease the mud from around the hull. Even more drums were added, and with the aid of wires around the hull, the Waimarie was first pulled from her resting place of 40 years after just 23 days of salvage. She looked nothing like the vessel which once cruised the Whanganui River. The wheelhouse had gone, deck timbers had splintered and broken. The Waimarie was a sorry sight, but the hull was remarkably intact. A treasured find was the original brass whistle, which after cleaning still had its voice. Tools, copper piping and other fittings came to light and were quickly cleaned. The engines were complete, and with most of the hull dry at low water, equipment and fittings could be removed. A lamp encased in thick mud was another lucky find. Removal of the engines and rusted boiler made the vessel considerably lighter. On the 20th of February, 48 days after the salvage began, heavy cranes were brought in to lift the boat from the water. Temporary plates were bolted over damaged areas of the hull. Willing hands helped in placing the wire strops to prevent damage. And with the 3 heavy lift cranes in position, the signal was given and the delicate lift was underway. The Waimarie was finally lifted out of the river that had claimed her since 1952. She's been completely restored to look as she did when she cruised the Whanganui River. The painstaking and detailed job of restoration, costing around $1.8 million, is being financed through lottery grants, sponsorship, generous donations, and active fundraising. So a group of dedicated and hard-working people are ensuring that the paddle steamer Waimarie will once again take her rightful place as Queen of the Whanganui River.